Well, it's another dark log from the diary of a griever named John Weaver, which is me. Alright. It's the 20th of December 2025, and we're coming close to holiday season. Is it the 19th or 20th? I'm losing track these days. I'm going to kill her up here. Things have been happening in the Trump world that haven't. Okay, it's Saturday, the 20th. Cool. Which means Thursday ought to be the day we're going to be flipping our wigs. Let me figure it out. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Well, it's probably Wednesday then. 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Oh, no wake up. Okay. Just want to make sure. Let's just say I'm a big bully. Okay, let's just say I'm a big bully. Well, weight-wise anyway. And I rule the country. Okay? Let's just say I rule the country, whatever the hell this place is. Okay. I'm saying all this history, I'm seeing all this precedent, I'm seeing all this architectural nightmares and things that look classic but don't look classic enough. Now let's just say I need my portraits to reflect the strengths of my character. Which means I need something skinnier, bulkier, and more mature, more refined. And therefore I'm haranguing staff left and right, because my ego demands. Every time I keep hearing the reporters these days asking about this and asking about that. I'm jumping into an example here, or what I've been hearing. And they hadn't said Trump's indirectly saying that Trump's ego is at full max at this point. He wants everything in his namesake. So, getting back to my example, let's just say that this apartment room that I rent out is my kingdom and my fiefdom. And I want to decorate, and I want to desecrate, and I want to do. And therefore I will, because I say so, because this is my kingdom. And I want people to play fiefdom. I want them to play. I want them to pay. I want them to worship. I want. My ego demands everything. Well, we're seeing with the toddler brain of Trump wanting everything, including desecrations of the White House, which he's absolutely partially destroyed right there. And portraits to be replaced with some crap and some explanations on it. And then there's the desecration of the Kennedy Center. Yeah, people are screaming and yelling about that one. And I'm thinking to myself, only an ego would want to go through this shit. Hell, why don't he just go over to the Empire State Building and say, I want it? Only because the Trump Tower seems to be a little bit larger. But people in New York, do they still want the Trump Tower? Do they still want that ugly eyesore there? The gilded piece of crap? It's all like bringing things back to the 1920s, or except for the 1890s through the 1920s, when we actually had a gilded age during that time where corporates were running things, and people are starving, going into workhouses. Even the homeless would be going into workhouses if they had to. Speaking of which, earlier this year, we had states passing laws. We had a Supreme Court case deciding that homeless people are no longer U.S. citizens, but just nothing. You get to be pushed around. An Oregon case came up a few years back concerning about how to treat their homeless people over there. They couldn't live, they couldn't park in certain areas to exist. And the case went all the way over to the Supreme Court of the United States, basically telling people, you can push around homeless people. Every state, every city, every town has been doing that. A lot of them were trying to find home and housing for those who didn't have it. But the rest of them keep pushing them around, left and right. I know there's towns out in the Antelope Valley that's still doing that shit. They've been doing it before the Supreme Court got their act together. Act together? Did I actually say act together? Am I actually understanding that the homeless people are just to be pushed around? It's like me getting pushed around anyway. I was homeless. Now I got a home. But my rent has already increased. If COLA hasn't increased enough for it. Every 2 or 3 years I keep getting a jack up. So yeah, it's going to be a tough year for next year. How I'm going to survive with a hell of a lot more prices. A lot more people, more corporations want more and more money out of me that my Social Security can't even give it or deliver to them. So I'm going to be having issues for more than that. But how would you like to have a state that was supposed to be religious? I mean, thoroughly religious in its Mormon upbringing over God knows how many centuries. I think since the 1800s. And now they're coming across like there is no welcome sign in this friendly town of ours because you're not of us. And they don't even like to use the name Mormon. Church of Latter-day Saints. But we're still worshiping Jesus. Well, we just want a place to put the homeless people because we don't want them in our cities. That's what Jesus would have wanted, right? So now I'm hearing this shit going on. I've been hearing this shit going on for a few years. Still don't make things right. If you happen to hear any things in the background, it's my mama dog waking up and wondering where the hell I am. She's going to be wondering, and she's going to be demanding. So, hold on, guys. Sorry about that. I had to get closer to the dog. She was needing my attention. The reason why I do the dark logs is to stay awake some nights to take care of the dog's needs, especially when she demands. But then again, she's an elderly lady who demands so much. So I have to stick around for this dog and wait for her to either calm down or go screaming and yelling and going insane. Not normal. So let's still talk about things, shall we? I heard about the Kennedy Center. I didn't want to comment too much about the damn thing. But when I heard about Utah still wanted to get funding, more and more funding for a homeless encampment, what are we doing, Manzanar? Because that's what I keep thinking about. What the executive order signed months ago, declaring that homeless is illegal. And the people should be jailed somehow. Manzanar back in the 40s, when we started up the World War II crap, they took U.S. citizens. Some have been born in the United States. Others were naturalized. Their rights were taken away. Their property was taken away. They were shoved in camps all over the country. We didn't have Alaska during that time. But we had a camp out in Hawaii. But most of the camps are in the mainland, meaning the 48 states. Manzanar, California actually had. Manzanar is almost a memory, except for those who keep remembering and tell the tales. George Takei was one of those survivors as a kid. He saw, he grew up, he didn't like it. He still talks about it, and I hope he continues to talk about it until the day he dies. I think he's written books about it. We got to read more books about the history, you know, and not dumping them and putting them into burning piles of refuge. People are putting things in banned books these days, all across the states. It's like they want to get rid of history that happened and just keep up with a shiny toy, but not the reality check. Homeless turned into something of a pain in the ass. City of Lancaster, California When my family moved out here, we didn't know what was happening in the Antelope Valley. The only thing we knew was Southern California. What was happening in the Antelope Valley was nothing. We heard a little bit about Santa Clarita and Valencia, whatever happened in there. Burbank, Glendale, San Gabriel Valley. We heard about a little bit of San Diego. We heard things about Ventura County. Mostly it was LA. If we had any national news, we listened to national news, what was going on. But the Antelope Valley, very rarely, unless there was drug busts or was chases going on. Then we come into the land of the aerospace. And during that time, we learned a whole new world was out here. Palmdale was just as snobbish as anything else, but there were still decent enough neighborhoods for some places. And you still had homeless people out there. Wow. We had homeless people? I wasn't even aware of it, most of it out in the San Fernando Valley, or even actually I did. Los Angeles, yes. City of Los Angeles, and portions of it, yes. I heard about the homeless situations. I hadn't seen enough of it, or actually seen any of it in the San Fernando Valley, unless I've been blind as hell to it. But coming out here to the Antelope Valley, I was aware of it. I was seeing it. Food giveaways. People hanging out in different places, left and right. Move out to city of Lancaster and hearing about news stories from the locals, reading the papers, hearing stories from people. Why the hell is this place turning out to be a dump for the homeless people? Not enough of them downtown Los Angeles? Stories were they had to be put on trains, hauled over to Lancaster, and the mayor who got elected into office, who was an ambulance chaser, made a business and an empire for himself in the legal profession. Turned out to be one pain in the ass to the homeless people. He hated him. Still does. I don't know if he's still in his last term or not. But homeless people were picked on a constant basis. We still had very little shelters. We tried to get bond measures passed out here in the Antelope Valley over the past 20 years. Still didn't work. Nobody wanted to pay for the damn thing. They still wanted to do the NIMBY. Not in my backyard. Get out of here, you. Some of these people never realized the economic factors or some of the driving things for these homeless people. When you go into county buildings, the ones that are giving life support out, yeah, you'd hear the stories. When you go to the food giveaways, you'd hear the stories. So when I heard about the Oregon law turning into NIMBY, and Trump signing something of that into effect, now we got to have Manzanar camps all over the damn place. Bad enough to try to do it with the ICE agent. What was it? Alligator Island or something like that out in Florida. The environmental land that was owned by somebody else and not by the federal government, but it was supposed to be a federal reserve to keep the animals and life going as is. What happened was ICE just took it over, built something temporary, just so they can house people for either torture or for transport. We had enough of that shit going on. Now let me get back to the Kennedy Center. Kennedy Center is a statement to John F. Kennedy and his legacy. Basically saying that art, literature, entertainment is priority. Showcase the best of what we have. But even that can be corrupted, screwed up, hijacked, and tossed down on its ear while yes men go in there and desecrate everything they know what's good about the Kennedy legacy, including the name. Putting Trump in front of John F. Kennedy, or that way. Kennedy, who had a hell of a lot better legacy than Trump, but Trump is an egomaniac. He's a toddler brain. He wants his name all over the damn place. He wants his ego built. He is so asphyxiated on getting his legacy built. It has to be built over people and other places, just to say that he's the greatest and he lies his ass off left and right. We got corporate media trying to fact check his ass. We got independent media fact checking his ass. He doesn't care. He doesn't care. And neither does his constabulatories, his regime makers, his regime lieutenants, both in Congress, in the judicial, and in executive. Yeah, we heard it yelling and screaming, Trump's coming, Trump's coming. Yeah, well, I guess we all didn't do our part because by a slim margin the bastard gets in. And I blame the voters for it because they wanted this. They wanted this in the worst ways. But they don't want to accept accountability, transparency, or responsibility. So it's all on us, assholes. We did this to ourselves. All this changing, all this ruining things of what was precedent, what was pristine, now is junk. Why? Because we allowed it to happen. We allowed it to happen. We voted it in. We voted in job loss. We voted in a government to collapse on itself. We voted in this one asshole coming from South America who decides he wants to get more people over here. But in order to do that, we have to get rid of other people over here that are actually already been established, naturalized, and even birthrighted, which is going to be challenged in the court systems. And what happens if the Supreme Court decides that you've been maybe a second or third generation American, you no longer exist? Because according to the Trump regime, you don't exist. They say so. How do you feel about that one? Make you sick to your stomach? Well, I sure as hell hope so. Because I wake up nightly with a damn ulcer like crazy. I have to keep drinking milk for the damn thing. Screw the damn Tums. I gave up on that stuff a long time ago. Didn't work as much. Too much of a candy I keep pumping into my system, so now I'm doing the milk fat crap on me. So, I'm also feeling it in my legs. Getting down to personal health. I still have to go see a doctor. I don't like the idea, but my body's telling me it's about damn overtime, dude. That's one thing I had to keep saying or talking to therapists about shit. And now I gotta talk to a doctor and deal with the pokes and prods and maybe a saw blade or two. John, I'm sorry, but your legs are going to have to go. Yeah, right. How are we doing that? We're going to be doing it right now as an outpatient surgery. Put him under, nurse. Wait a second. You were saying something, patient Weaver? Why are we cutting off my legs? I need to practice it. I got a brand new saw. I want to get it shot. If you don't want that, I've got a rotary blade here that'll do the job as well. More painful. And you'll be awake for it. Put him under, nurse. I need to practice my saw blade here. You think it may be a comic stage at this point over here, but it's one of my fears and phobias concerning about being put under by the medical establishment. They don't have enough medications out there to fuck over a body one way or another just to cure one thing. Surgeries I really can't stand. But surgeries, unfortunately, are going to have to be necessary. And then the other fun part is how the hell do I get this survivable in this place? One major hassle at a time. I'm still worried about my own dog. So I'm bringing in a lot of stuff with 2026 and see what happens. Meanwhile, time to go broke. Because during Christmas time, we all go broke. Why? We must buy. Yeah, but anybody got the money to buy. And that being said, guys, happy holidays, Merry Christmas. Scrooge is going to love you because you're going to be borrowing money from him and he's going to be laughing his ass off. Grinch, on the other hand, is going to get pissed off at you because you keep tossing the older stuff, in the junk bins. And he's already getting buried enough with Mount Hook. So, have fun.